On the big match today, West Ham against Newcastle, Norwich against Manchester United, and our bonus match, Sheffield Wednesday against Millwall. And a warm welcome again to the programme, and indeed there's a whole lot of very good action coming your way in the next hour on the big match. Our main match, in fact, is another of those wonderful spectacles of attacking football, West Ham against Newcastle United, a most miserable afternoon of rain and wind in East London, but for all that there was still a crowd of 24,000 that came to see these two clubs who are lying 8th and 9th in the table respectively, and they do soon do so much to dispel the gloom. On a pitch that is bound to cut up and become heavy, West Ham field a side without fullback Frank Lampard and forward Dudley Tyler, both injured. It means that Kevin Locke, a versatile youngster, slots into the defence, and Johnny Aris is at 7. Good to see Ronnie Boyce as the substitute. As for Newcastle, their manager Joe Harvey was telling me of their injury problems. No Tony Green still, and now Tommy Gibb is out as well. His place at number 4 goes to 19-year-old Irvin Nattrass. One man eager to do better than most, I suppose, on this particular day is Brian Robson, formerly with Newcastle, now West Ham's top scorer with 13. And for Newcastle, fresh from his hat-trick with the under-23s, Malcolm McDonald, watched again by Sir Alf Ramsey. Bobby Moore playing game number 501 for West Ham. And the referee today is Mr. Norman Paget of Coventry.
So Newcastle get us away, defending the goal to our left in their striped shirts, the Magpies. Against West Ham, Moore up there, and the linesman already flagging on the far side, offside against John Tudor. Newcastle, in fact, who come here with not at all a bad record, quite a useful season so far in the First Division, and they've won on their last 2 appearances at Upton Park. West Ham really getting back on the song with a victory at Everton last week, and Bobby Ferguson now with this clearance for them. Best going for this one, on his body. And Brooking coming in quickly enough, and the crowd not happy that the referee didn't play advantage there. But it is a free kick now to West Ham. Bonds getting in Robson's way, and Hibbett getting it away. Hibbett with another chance to get it away. Aris, and a throw to West Ham. Billy Bonds towards Clyde Best. Can he get round Howard? There was the answer, he could, and now Aris. Back for Bonds, letting one go, a fraction wide. From Billy Bonds, who was right up there and in fact modelled with Brian Robson the moment before. McDonald off his knee, but Hibbett is there. Inside now for Smith, letting one go, and tipped away by Ferguson. And Jim Smith, number 8, and McDonald with him, 2 men who might well pose 1 or 2 problems for West Ham. Both £100,000 players, Smith 100,000, McDonald 180,000, and here's Barraclough with the corner. Tudor getting up above them all, but not quite high enough. Aris for Bonds. Well, McDonald very nearly picked that one up, but it's with McDowell. Robson, dearly wishing to do well against his old club, but stopped there by Hibbett. Tudor going hard for that one and winning it well in the air. He wins some good balls in the air, John Tudor. And now Best, can he recover quickly enough? Well, he's got past his man, and he's stopped, half-stopped by Moncur, still with Best, and he's got it! And now it's disallowed. The referee has disallowed it. Now why he's disallowed it is hard to see. Maybe offside against Best, because the play is coming right back, and there's somebody on the field, but only to pick up a streamer that's been sent on, that's been thrown on. And the linesman must have flagged long before Best got into that menacing position. and a free kick to Newcastle instead of a goal against them. But enough to get the crowd buzzing, and Moncur with it. Flicked on, and MacDonald hoping to get to it, but Ferguson prepared to let it go for the goal kick. Moncur and Robson getting beneath this one, and Moncur's head that sends it to Smith. Just getting it to MacDonald, and left foot out to Barraclough. Newcastle's throw. Just under a quarter of an hour gone, still West Ham 0, Newcastle 0. And Frank Clark with the throw for Newcastle. Swift challenge by Bobby Moore. On Stuart Barraclough. Another throw then to Newcastle. Hibbett with it again. Moore's header clear. Smith. Bonds fastening onto the loose one. And Craig. The ball into touch again for another throw to West Ham. Bonds. Dow. Well, he might be running into trouble, but his nerve held and his pass found Bobby Moore. Locke. Howard. Tudor. Smith. And Nattrass to Hibbett. Oh, McDowell putting that straight into the path of Nattrass, who let one go! And that was a good save by Ferguson from Irvin Nattrass. Bobby Moore. Brooking. Neatly tricking Nattrass, still with Brooking. Onto the right foot, and a shot that McFall had to pull out of the air. Hibbett. MacDonald. Hibbett. MacDonald. And again, Terry Hibbett. Oh, Locke committed himself to that one, and Barraclough now. Will he get it on the left foot? Pushed away by Ferguson. Locke, if anything, showing a little bit of immaturity as Barraclough was given time to get that shot in. So Smith and MacDonald being watched by Locke and McDowell, and Barraclough with the corner for Newcastle. Locke away, but only as far as Barraclough. Still with Stuart Barraclough, veering his cross and putting a low one in, but it's Robson and Moore getting in each other's way, and a little lucky to get it away as far as Brooking. Howard coming back quickly. Craig. Moore. Suspicion of handball there, but the referee said chest. Brooking to Best. Past Moncur again, but obstruction given against the Newcastle defender. West Ham's free kick. It'll be Moore to aim one. Robson wanting it deep, and it is in deep towards Pop Robson. A bit too high for him. One of the best views in the game, the cameraman behind that Newcastle goal. Nattrass hoping to pick up the return ball. And a goal kick to West Ham. Well, a most unpleasant afternoon, but not at all a bad crowd here at Upton Park, and certainly a sprightly enough start, although it's died just a little bit lately. McDonald turning inside for Tudor, and now McDonald really with a chance to liven things up, and he's always on target, this fellow. They say he dreams about goalkeepers and goals. Now Brooking taking that touch off from Robson, still with Brooking, turn that time, and Howard needed to cut that out because Best was behind him. Eris, West Ham's throw. Best looking for an overhead, and it'll fall for Bobby Moore. Now Robson over the top. That was a glaring chance for Brian Robson, and in fact he kept his head so well after taking that pass from Moore, or at least a little touch across the goal that found Robson, and he thought maybe just a little too much about where he was going to place it. West Ham's throw. Again McDonald is away. This time he's all right, he's onside. Tudor in the middle for him, still McDonald onto that right foot. And Tudor was very nearly there to touch it in. People seem to accept McDonald as a predominantly left foot player, but he took that onto his right foot so well. Brooking, now Robson, and Craig once more there. Someone watching McDonald, I'm sure, close to the most, in the centre of the picture, the front row, England team manager Sir Alf Ramsey. Barraclough, stopped again by Bobby Moore. Perfect timing with his tackles this afternoon, and now finding Robson. Best. Howard still backing off him, and then deciding to flick out the foot when it mattered, giving West Ham the corner. From behind that Newcastle goal, the West Ham players coming forward. Brooking now then with the corner, curling in. Oh, and McFall only half fisted that away. Holland! He hasn't scored this season, and that might well have been the chance for him. The whistle goes for half-time. A patchy first half that began so well, it faded in the middle and came back with some good adventurous attacking football towards half-time. Still to come on the big match this afternoon, Norwich against Manchester United, our bonus match as well, and the half-time score here at Upton Park reads West Ham United 0, Newcastle 0. We'll be back with the second half in a couple of minutes' time.
Part 2, 10-second, I beg your pardon, Part 2, 15-second auto-stop cue. Part 2, 10-second auto-stop cue. Part 2, 5-second auto-stop cue.
Welcome back, and it's West Ham getting us away at the start of the second half. Still 0-0, and Bobby Moore now to Billy Bonds. West Ham beaten only once at home this season by Derby County, the last home game in fact. Best. They really are having a tremendous tussle, those two. Pat Howard, the number 5 for Newcastle, Clyde Best for West Ham. Conversation in the rain, two England players, Malcolm McDonald and Bobby Moore. Donald on his chest, and now Hibbett. Smith. Hibbett to Barraclough. Now has he got the legs of Locke? He has, and that took a good save from Ferguson. He really rifled that one in, Barraclough, from a very sharp angle indeed. And now Kevin Locke. Holland has gone sprinting after it, but Moncur quite happy to let that go through to McFall. Moore. Brooking. Shimmied his way past Jim Smith. And now Ayres. Clark trying to force him down that touchline, and Ayres wants to come inside. He's found Brooking. Moore. Bonds. West Ham trying always to open up this Newcastle defence, and Bonds across their goal, and nobody could quite get a touch to it. But Bonds electrified that move with a quickening of the pace and a really great ball across the goal that really needed just only a touch. But there was nobody in the centre there to apply it, and so Newcastle get a throw on the far side. Holland going on. Now can he keep that one in? There's not much room out there. Back for Robson. Played first time and it's high in the air. Ayres not the biggest of men. Brooking to line one up. Tudor on his way now. McDonald is waiting in the middle, and there's McDonald, still with Malcolm McDonald, and he's playing on for Smith, and now Barraclough. Oh, and it knocked away there. McDonald knocking it back in, and a beautiful move there by Newcastle United that tore West Ham one way, then the other. Now Brooking, good skill, and a good piece of fighting back by Hibbett. And what a fighter that Hibbett is. Hibbett looks as though he's taken a bit of a knock, but that's quite a talented Hibbett family. This is Terry, brother Ken, who plays for Wolves. Now it's with Bonds. Inside for Bobby Moore, and there's a lot of space there for Moore to advance. Best, but Howard got in there with great determination. Moore again. Locke. Moore. Played forward first time, and a nice 1-2 there with Clive Best. Moore lining it up, wanting a little more time. Trying another 1-2, and Moore going on, and eventually hustled out. And in fact, Moore and Clark having a hustle, and I'm bound to say that Bobby Moore had a little clip at the Newcastle player, which caused the Newcastle man to retaliate. There aren't very many times in 10, 12 years that you've seen Bobby Moore do that, but here's the corner now for West Ham. Bonds was right up there amongst them. McDowell and Locke. Newcastle, who've scored 8 goals in their last 3 games. But, at the moment, nobody able to put one in the net so far this afternoon. There's 25 minutes left. Another throw for Newcastle. McDowell. Well, he's going on and on because nobody was there to challenge him, and now it's with Ayres. Good looking cross there by Ayres. Robson hoping to get it on the volley, and McFall A little more power from that one, and that might well have fooled Ian McFall. Tudor to Hibbett. Tudor again. Played wide for Stuart Barraclough. Locke was in so quickly. Jim Smith, look at the space that they've allowed him there. But more, in fact, blocking it. Barraclough again for Newcastle. Smith again. Oh, there wasn't too much to spare again there for West Ham. But it's a goal kick. Jim Smith from a very fine angle indeed. "20 minutes now to go. Bonds. Moore. Clark with the throw. Bonds. Straight down to Hibbett, and a long and a high and a hopeful ball, which Tudor will chase, and Ferguson in fact knocked it out with his chest. Well, that looked as though it was his chest, and the linesman, who in fact wasn't particularly well placed, if anything the referee was better placed to see that than the linesman. But the linesman says that that hit Ferguson on the arm, and West Ham not at all happy with that one. So Newcastle get a free kick in a controversial situation here. Ferguson claiming vehemently that he hit him on the chest. And now, a matter of 6 inches or so outside the penalty area, absolutely dead in front. Every West Ham player is back. With 2, 4, 6, 7 of them at least in the wall. The book might well come out unless West Ham go back the full 10 yards. Now here comes the free kick. Hibbett curling one. Ferguson going for it with the punch and getting it away. Hibbett. And a goal kick. Well, certainly the linesman not the most popular man. And if memory serves me right, it's the linesman who was involved in that Jeff Blockley punch against Manchester City at Highbury just a few weeks ago, Mr. Whedon of Reading. But he obviously thought that he was doing the right thing, something there that obviously being thrown at him as well. Clark. McDonald coming for it, but McDowell was there before him. Smith to Tudor. Barraclough, played on nicely for Tudor. McDonald waiting in the middle if Tudor can get it across. And so too was Smith, and Ferguson hit that away with his body. That was an instinctive save there by Ferguson, who couldn't have known too much about it. Craig, Natras, kept it in place as the linesman. And a great run there by McDonald, and Ferguson doing well. And he in fact handled that outside the area. And although maybe I was very critical of the linesman a couple of minutes ago, I don't think there was any doubt at all that Ferguson, although he began inside the area, skidded outside the area, and while he was outside that area, he in fact was handling the ball, and so I would say that the linesman was right there. Bobby Moore arguing vehemently there with referee Paget, and Newcastle now with a chance of another free kick. Smith and Howard and McDonald are lined up there. And West Ham touched off for McDonald, the left foot, and Ferguson, what a save! He had a split second to see that, and he got his hands superbly behind that. More things being thrown at the linesman, and more boos coming his way. And the rain of anything now coming down harder than ever. 10 minutes left, still no score. Monker, who's been so steady at the back for Newcastle. Ayres always flicked his way past Frank Clark. That's not a bad looking cross either. Brooking, hitting one, Brooking! It was the cross by Ayres that was never satisfactorily cleared by the Newcastle defence. Brooking, left foot on the turn, and no more than a foot to spare inside the far post. So West Ham 1-0 ahead. Best letting it run, Natras getting in, McDowell, and Craig right in there, and a goal! Goal by David Craig! Well, we've waited for so long for a goal, and now we get two in the space of a minute. That's David Craig, and that's his third goal of the season. So 1-1. Moore to McDowell. Well, that's excited a lot of people here at Upton Park. McDonald. Throw to Newcastle. Well, a lot of excited people, but not the copper apparently. It's with McDonald. Smith. Natras. And it's that man Craig again. Five minutes now to go. Bonds. Robson. Still Robson. He wants to get a shot in, but that's not nearly enough power in that one. Smith. Trying to get that inside the fullback for Barraclough, and he's succeeded in doing. Good bit of running there by Barraclough, cut out by Taylor. And Newcastle get the throw. Barraclough. Hibbett going on. Oh, and that was no more than a foot wide. from Terry Hibbett. And McDowell, when he ran into his own goal, put his hands to his head, realising that West Ham had escaped by a matter of inches there. Natchez to Hibbett. And McDonald, but before he can do anything about it, that's the final whistle. A game that promised a lot, but took that final flurry really to burst into life with those 2 goals in a minute. Trevor Brooking first of all for West Ham United, putting them into the lead. But then within a minute, David Craig equalising for Newcastle United. So we're left with a final score here at Upton Park that reads West Ham United 1, Newcastle United 1.
Well, if you enjoyed that game, I can only tell you that it had nothing on the full 90 minutes at Upton Park, with its constant flowing attacking football and a great atmosphere that went with it. And it does seem we're abounding with good games this season. Last night's TV match between Liverpool and Birmingham, for example. And to quote Bernard Joy in last night's Evening Standard on the Arsenal-Leeds game, "I have rarely known such excitement at Highbury," he said. And for ourselves, we've hardly had a poor match on the programme this season.
So why is it, we wonder, that there are still so many people in the business who are knocking the game? Recently, we had the ultimate in lunacy from within, when a manager was quoted in the Football League's own review that the game had gone sick. Newspapers all season have been running investigations into the dropping gates. The Daily Mail, and let's hope it's the last in a long line, is coming up with its own series this week.
But you can tell in advance what the conclusions will be. There's too much hooliganism.
There's too much football.
There's too much football on television.
There's too much defensive football, though in the light of recent games I've seen, that argument hardly holds water.
That the up in the price of admission is also a factor.
No doubt they're all contributing factors. Maybe we should add another, the press. They're hardly doing the game a service by their repeated reminder of crises in the game, under the guise of being helpful, because they're publishing a constant stream of discouraging propaganda. They do well to remember that if you knock even a highly satisfactory product too often, whether it's soap flakes, washing machines, or football, in the end, the public won't want any part of it.
We believe, too, that some of them should get their thinking straight. They're worried about the fans who desert the terraces for their armchairs in front of television on Saturdays. Yet look at yesterday's Daily Mail. On page 33, they project John Rickman on the TV races. On page 31, they round off their preview of the Wales v All Blacks game with a TV guide to the players. Now, I leave it to you. Is that persuading people to go out to a game or stay indoors and watch?
To be fair, TV's not blameless. We in the BBC put on those events. But it's not soccer on television that might be keeping the fans away on Saturday afternoon. It's rugby, racing and other sports. What the press and we in television have to do is to balance things up by reminding the fans of what they are missing by staying away. And believe us, there's plenty. There's nothing very much wrong with the game that a good public relations operation from within the game and from the media couldn't put right. If there are some things wrong with football, there's a hell of a lot more right with it.
And I'll tell you something else as well. The 24,000 lucky ones at Upton Park yesterday, and really that's not such a bad crowd in pouring rain and in the month before Christmas, will echo, I'm sure, that opinion in their pubs and their offices and their factories all this week. One other little thing I want to bring your attention to in today's Sunday Mirror, a paragraph on the back page. Despite the rain which washed out Palace, Fulham and Swindon, despite the flu which wrecked Aldershot's fixture, despite the all-star all-black show on television, whisper it softly, the crowds are creeping back. Whisper it softly, be blowed. That's the sort of thing that we feel we should shout out gladly. It's something I think on the programme we've wanted to get off our chest for a few weeks now. I'm glad we've done it now. And now to continue that theme, back to Jim.
Well, I want to make an apology first of all for Newcastle for not mentioning their performance yesterday. I'm not going to mention what Newcastle did, and it was splendid, because I want to draw your attention to two players' performances that I thought were worth the money alone. The two Bobbies, Bobby Ferguson and Bobby Moore. I don't suppose either has ever played a better game in their life. Bobby Ferguson, first of all, with a stream of quite brilliant saves. It seemed almost as if from the start of the match he knew that he was going to have a magnificent game. That shot there from Smith, nonchalantly tipped over the bar, and a beautiful action shot there of the fall. Now it's Barraclough's turn to hammer one in, and notice how Bobby Moore takes his shoulder away late in case of a deflection, leaving in no time at all. But up come the fists, and he gets it away from the goal. Here, as West Ham were in a bit of trouble with a cross from the right, he reads it, comes out quickly. A sprinter is this man, and just gets one fist to it to avoid the danger. And another moment where it looked as if West Ham might concede was when Tudor broke up the right wing, laid the ball back to Smith, who came steaming in and hit it first time. He's out of position there, moving to the right, but he manages to get his left foot to it. And finally, the save of the match. This from a free kick where he was unsighted. It was Malcolm MacDonald with his tremendous power who hit that ball. He's on the right-hand side of the goal there, somehow manages to get across behind the wall and complete that save. Let's hear what Malcolm MacDonald has to say about it.
Yeah, he handled it just outside of the box as we were attacking through. And they formed, I think there was about 8 men in the wall. And he could just see from his right-hand side at the corner of the goal. And 3 of us were on the ball, and I struck it. And as I did, the wall just parted. 4 went one way, 4 went the other, and there's a gap of about 2 feet, and the ball went through. And he launched himself from one corner to the other. And not only did he stop it, he caught it. And I'm sick about that. You know, it makes me feel as if I didn't hit it at all, but I did. I crashed it like mad. And it went through. And how he saw it, I just don't know. It was one of the most incredible saves I've ever seen because of the fact that he couldn't have known where the ball was going.
Well, it proves, of course, that even players in the excitement don't always see things accurately, but that was quite a tribute from Malcolm MacDonald to the performance of Bobby Ferguson. But what about Bobby Moore? In his 501st game for West Ham, it's difficult to find extra words to describe him, except to say I don't think I've ever seen him play better. He's got so much skill, he miscontrols that fractionally. Look at the way he works his way out from then on, throwing dummies, all the enthusiasm in the world, and all the skill too, and the coolness with which he holds the side together. But it's his awareness, his ability to come onto a ball and know exactly where to play it. There's the ball off the outside of the foot through to Trevor Brooking, and it proves that he doesn't have to move up the field to initiate attacks from that West Ham. That one started from the back, but look where it finished. But in defence, of course, he's absolutely superb. His control in tight positions, just watch it here, he only gets the end of a toe to that, but he's got it, he's moving out, and he's looking to set up the next attack. And where does he do it? Out to the left wing, beautifully in Holland's path. And finally, the moment where West Ham was still 0-0, and he wanted a goal. He's farther up the field here, initiating an attack. First time ball off again. He knows just where everybody is, comes onto it once more, thinks of a shot, decides not to. What about a little wall pass with Brooking to get the way through? There's the ball back, well played, but his legs just won't carry him through there, and I don't think he meant there to kick Clark. But Clark thought he did, and they got into quite a nasty situation. But Bobby, the gentleman as always, says, let's forget it. There's so much for Bobby Moore. But there's one thing that television can add to a match. I left the ground yesterday not knowing why Clyde Best's goal had been disallowed, and there were quite a few spectators who were in my position. Television can clear it up now. West Ham fans, you see that camera that looks like a bird behind the goal at Upton Park? That's the one that revealed this bit of truth. You can see it comes right at the start here from that kick. There's the foul and the push there. No question about that. But what a pity it was in many ways, because afterwards Clyde Best goes on to score with this wonderful dribble. He staggers there but still gets past his man. What probably would have been our golden goal. It's a pity, but justice was done.
Well, we seem to have concentrated very much on West Ham United there, but if it's any consolation for Newcastle fans who are watching us today, the West Ham manager Ron Greenwood said afterwards that is the best Newcastle side that he's seen for many, many years, and a good afternoon it was. We got some more action now, and it's a bonus for all Millwall fans. Things really have been looking up for them a little in the past few weeks, and yesterday they had a match against Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough. The pictures come from Yorkshire Television, the commentator is Keith Macklin, and Sheffield Wednesday are in the striped shirts.
Joycey, beautifully controlled. Eustace on the right is Henderson. Now Henderson. Joycey, a goal, beautifully worked. Willie Henderson almost took it too far. Henderson took it right to the byline, and Brian Joycey on the line underneath it as it dropped. And Craig with the ball at his feet. Perhaps Wednesday will settle now. A goal to the good. Kitchener coming up to Clements. Clements trying to go around Brian Brown, and yet another good cross. Headed behind for a corner. Cripps deciding to put that behind for a corner instead of putting it back in field. So as so often happens, a goal for our home side sets everybody buzzing. Craig moving into the area over the top. A touch to the second goal by Wilde. Big Roger Wilde gets the goal. That's two. Henderson and Craig hugging each other on the other side of the park. So Roger Wilde in his first team game is standing the right place at the right time to finish off that move. Right on the edge, Dunphy, the man with the ball at his feet, a three-man wall. Bodies scurrying about in all directions. Dunphy. Brian Brown. All arms and legs, and Grummet hasn't got it. It's going to be rushed in. It has. What a messy goal. I think Mr. Hall has disallowed it. The ball was put in the net, but Mr. Hall has disallowed it, much to the disgust of Millwall, who are inquiring of the referee why that goal doesn't count. Grummet lost possession of it. Legs were scything about in all directions. Burnett. Ball on into the path of Burnett. Wood. Alder. Bolland. Bolland going to hit one, deflected for a goal. I think that could well have come off a defender. Bolland, the man who hit it, is a beautiful effort, beautifully worked by Bolland, and whether or not there was a slight deflection, Grummet was well beaten. Bolland will be credited with the shot and the goal. Alder. Burnett moving on the left. Oh, beautiful ball to Burnett. A good pass. Oh, that was asking to be converted. Alf Wood sliding into the net, but what a beautiful pass. First of all to Burnett, then from Burnett across the goal line. If Alf Wood had got his toe to it, it was there. There's Burnett. Here's the corner. That's a header. Grummet, a lovely save. Beautiful save. Steve Brown. Joycey. Clements. Henderson running for that. Scattered Burnett. Apologises. Play goes on with Cripps. Bolland. Burnett. Dunphy. For Bolland. Mullen. Dicey. Oh, what a gift. Wood. Bolland has done it, and there was a slip. Defensive mistake lets in Bolland for his second goal. That back pass doing the damage. Wood retrieving it, and Bolland, his second goal, pulls it out of the fire in the last 4 minutes of the game.
Well, I'm sorry that got a bit murky towards the end, but the quality of Millwall's comeback was surely clear for all to see. But now we turn to your letters, and you've often turned our attention in the past to referees, but today it's the linesman. And a few weeks ago there were two incidents, it seems, that caught your attention. One was in the Everton-Manchester City game when Henry Newton headed into his own goal. Mark Bowen, who's aged 12, from 32 St Mary's Road in Hayes, Middlesex, Derek Chalk of 2 St Martin's Road, Heel, Torquay, and David Manley of 76 Campbell Crescent, East Grinstead in Sussex. They were three of many who said that it was a foul throw that led to that goal.
Well, the law's very clear in these cases. Part of each foot must be on or behind the line, and I think you'll see there that Summerby has both feet on or behind the line. So there's no doubt about it, the referee was right. Now, if you're not Henry Newton, you can sit back and enjoy the rest of this goal. One thing, notice how Summerby here, unlike a lot of players, doesn't bring the ball back onto his natural foot before he crosses it. It's the speed of that cross that puts Newton in trouble.
Well, the other linesman under fire was in fact in the Millwall game against Brighton that we showed. Mr L. Dolling of 214 Kentwood Hill, Tilehurst in Reading, and Mr P.F. Robinson of 13 Highview Road in Upper Norwood were just a couple of our viewers who wondered about Millwall's Harry Cripps being allowed to run off the field of play.
Well, players are not supposed to leave the field without the referee's permission, but if it happens in the course of the game, they're not generally penalised. Harry Cripps went off to take that first throw-in, can't get back on there, and gets back onto the field at the first possible moment. The referee was absolutely right.
Meanwhile, Mrs. Joy Gatty of 103 Grosvenor Road, Dagenham in Essex, complains that in every Sunday in her house the big match simply stops all conversation for an hour. She feels that she's a little bit out in the cold, I suppose. But the other week she fully expected to have her say when she thought that we'd be showing scenes from the Scotland-England women's football match. But no, and Joy wonders if we are prejudiced against women footballers. Far from it, in fact. Let's have a look at the goals from that game. Well, this is Scotland's first goal coming up. Quite a good little header there, just out of the range of the England goalkeeper. So that puts Scotland 1-0 ahead. And their second goal came direct from a corner. Goalkeeper at fault? Possibly. Defenders at fault? Possibly. But that is 2-0 for Scotland, and these scenes of jubilation here are the sort of scenes that you see on a men's football pitch almost every week of the year. But England came back into the game from that 2-0 deficit, and that was the goal that made it 2-1, and that, I gather, was in fact the final score. Are we prejudiced against women's football? No, I don't think so. Jim's just made the very good point. I don't know if he speaks from experience or not, but he says that when they're playing football, at least they can't be nagging you. I'd like to draw your attention to a game that's being played this week that might have escaped your attention. It is the university match, Oxford against Cambridge, which in fact is always a very good one and is played this year at Wembley on Wednesday at 2 o'clock. A good date there for schoolmasters and school teams, I would think. But our last match on the programme today is the visit of Manchester United. With all their troubles over the lack of winning form and the business of George Best and so on, they went to Norwich, who'd not been beaten at home in over 30 matches. Anglia's cameras were there, commentator Jerry Harrison. Norwich are in the lighter strip, and for those of you watching in colour, we go to black and white in the second half.
Goes Buchanan, cross. Done first there. Away goes McDougall. Wyn Davies coming in on this one. Lets it run now to Moore in a good position. Beautifully taken by Ian Moore. Made by McDougall and Wyn Davies. And Manchester United show just how dangerous they are right up front. Well, it's very casual and dangerous. Livermore gets it off them. Cross gets it back. Cries of handball. But play on. But that was casual and dangerous play at the back by Manchester United that, again, they were almost punished for. Young to Charlton. His left is done. A lot of room. Butler having to go to him and McDougall going down the left free. Stringer comes across. Wyn Davies on the far post. Moore is over there too. Up goes Wyn Davies. And Black couldn't let it go because Davies is so powerful there on that far post. So the first corner of the game, incidentally. 27 minutes gone. David Sadler has come up. Number 5 there. Davies shaping to come towards the near post, changes his mind. Sadler with a header off the line by Black. Moore gets another one. So Anderson picks up, but it's still with Manchester United pressing forward, making it difficult for them. Now Davies. Moore appeals that it had already gone out, but no flag from the linesman who's right on the spot. So Moore losing his man. McDougall can't quite get it. Black all on his own here. Cross can't get it either. And to Charlton here. Fullback O'Neill just behind him comes inside. Morgan calls for it and gets it. Moore out on the left. Another good one from Morgan, into trouble, he's now out of the game. Anderson having a go at Dunn. Chance for another one. Here's Cheesley. Anderson still out there. Straight back to Charlton. And here's Davies, really doing some marvellous running. Sadler. Another good one from Sadler, and the referee appeals to Mr. Smith that he was bundled off it. The Wyn Davies appeals to Mr. Smith. Nothing doing anyhow. Cross to Livermore. Now Black. Cross getting into the middle. Up he goes. Back to Livermore. In comes Padden. Doing well here, but Stepney gets it. Livermore trying to put pressure on him. Moore. To Morgan and back to O'Neill. O'Neill looking a little bit shaky in this right-back position, but so far City haven't been able to exploit it. Now it's Padden, O'Neill coming up to him. To Cheesley, Buchan in first though. Wyn Davis, and luckily going straight to Moore. McDougall on his left, Wyn Davis on his right. Back to O'Neill. Using McDougall. McDougall still with it. Still going. Hit the post. McDougall showing not only skill but strength there. Well, you can see that perhaps this £200,000 isn't excessive. Wyn Davis has won so much in the air. Moore going forward. Past Stringer, now Moore. And McDougall. Yes! Ted McDougall gets it, but Ian Moore makes it. So that, as we come up to the 90-minute mark, puts the lid on Manchester United's first away win and the Norwich City first defeat here at Carrow Road for 31 games. A goal created first of all by a flick by Wyn Davis, then by Ian Moore, and eventually finished off by Ted McDougall for his 4th goal of the season, and that's that.
So a very good win for Manchester United. That's it from us this weekend. See you next weekend. Our last bit of action today, though, is the goal that broke the deadlock in a fine game at Upton Park yesterday.
So steady at the back for Newcastle. Ayres always flicked his way past Frank Clark. That's not a bad looking cross either. Brooking, hitting one, Brooking!